Okay, now we're going to talk about the setup. Setup is probably the most important part of this entire book when it comes to mechanics and swinging a golf club. If you don't get set up correctly and consistently, it's very difficult, obviously, to make a consistent golf swing as well as an efficient golf swing. So let's go over some simple things that will help you get into a consistent position consistently, and also in a way that enables you and encourages you to make a good, solid, consistent, and powerful golf swing. I'm wearing that word consistent out, but it's actually a pretty important one, I guess. So the first thing we always want to do is make sure that we get our golf club in our fingers. We want to be on the back side of the golf club, not on the top or onto the left side. So we don't want to be over here on the top side of the club or over on the forward side, but on the back side. It will be like any other tool that you've ever used. If it was a baseball bat, you hold it on the back side of it, a hammer, an axe. You're always on the back so you can apply pressure through your instrument or through your tool into the object you're trying to actually hit. So it's no different here in golf. We want to be more on the back side. So let's get the club in our fingers. The easiest way to get that in your left hand, which would be your forward hand, is to just hold it beside your left hip. Let the club fall down in your fingers, and you want it to go, the bottom part of the grip, into the middle digit of your forefinger on your left hand. Not into the joint or the end of the finger, but in the middle digit. Let that hang or position itself under the grip, and then what's called the hypothema, this piece here on the top, we're going to set that on top of the grip, once again so that it's in our fingers nicely, so our wrist can cock up properly. Your hands don't do anything but hold the golf club, your wrists cock up and down, and then we'll talk about releasing the club later on. But hold that club in your fingers. Miss Peggy Kirkbell used to consider it or call it like picking up a piece of luggage down to the side of you. So that's actually a pretty good analogy. Just feel it down in your fingers. Don't really necessarily look and try to place your hand there. Just look forward and feel it, or even close your eyes and imagine it. Then we want to put the left forefinger or the left thumb with the left side of the left thumb in the center of the grip. So at that point, when you bring the club back around to the front edge of the club and the shaft, we're going to make a relatively straight line when it's over here to your side. It may not be quite that way here depending on the ball position, but you should be able to see 2 knuckles to 3 knuckles of your left hand. That's these knuckles on the back of the left hand there. So hold it to your left hand side, see a straight line from the shaft of the club to the club face. Bring it around to the front, you should be able to see 2 knuckles, the left side of your left thumb in the center, and the V formed between the forefinger and the thumb is going to go up to your right hand shoulder, not your center or to the left. So once again, make sure you're in the fingers and you've got a good solid connection with all of your hand on the club. The right hand, which I'm going to struggle a little bit showing you that, but we'll try to make do, is just going to float in to the back side of the grip and fit into the right hand, into the left hand. So the palm, the lifeline of your palm, is going to fit right onto the left thumb, and the middle digit of your right forefinger is going to be on the bottom of the grip, and then the right side of your right thumb is going to be on the center. Now the V that's formed between the forefinger and the thumb on the right hand is going to also go to your right shoulder. So we want them both to be parallel and going to your right shoulder, such that you're back on the back side of the club. An easy way to feel that, and once again the palm, you can pretend like there's an eye in your palm of your right hand, and we would like for it to face parallel to the target line. We don't want it to face down and to the left, we don't want it to face up and to the right, but we want to just swing in and be nice and parallel to the target line. You can take the look at the pictures in the book, and that should describe that pretty clearly for you. So the hands on the golf club are probably the most important part of the setup, because that's the only connection you have to the club, which is the only connection you have to the golf ball. And we want to make sure that we're able to get the golf club nice and square. Always better too far to the right before too far to the left. And you can see what that does to my body when I do it. And I want to be behind the ball more on the back side of the golf club. Our feet, we like to have about as wide as our hips and shoulders. If I'm going to use this line as what could possibly be the ball position, we would like our feet about as wide as your hips and shoulders, and their feet relatively straight forward, not flared out to the sides. If you're going to do anything, turn them in a little bit, but it depends kind of on your flexibility, but I like to see them as squarely as possible, as square as possible. Posture is going to be a very big important part of setting up properly. We want to make sure that we stand up nice and tall, in a nice tall position. From the hips, we're going to bend forward until our arms hang down nice and comfortable. And then we're going to slightly flex your knees to get you a little bit of flex and some athleticism. So we want to stand up nice and straight from the hips, not the shoulders, but the hips, with a straight back, bend forward till your arms hang down, and then slightly flex. You should be in a nice athletic position right there. You'll see some nice angles. My back's pretty straight. My hips are over my ankles. My weight's in the middle of my feet. A way to test that is you can pick your body up, and then right where you land is where we want to be. We don't want to go down and then rock back to the heels, but go up, down, and you should be in a nice balanced position there. Ball position is going to be very important. Once again, we'll use this as to represent the ball position. With your shorter irons, I'm going to go down to a pitching wedge. We've got a pitching wedge here. If this is representing ball position, we'd like for it to be pretty much in the center. Maybe ever so slightly left of center, but basically in the center of your feet. And that's in the center of your heels, not your toes. Unless your toes are dead straight forward, you can use them, but we like to use the heels because that's a pretty consistent reference point. So the ball position is in the center with the wedges. The longer the golf club gets, the more towards your left instep the ball position will go. This is a 6-iron, so I probably would put it about an inch or so left of my center, slightly farther than the center towards our left foot. We get on up to a longer golf club, or our longest golf club, the driver. This ball position is going to actually be pretty much off the instep of your left foot. So we'll have more of this. Ball position's up on the front. So it just gradually migrates towards your left instep from the center the longer the golf club gets. And the longer the golf club gets, it's very important to make sure that your alignment of your shoulders and arms and hips all stay parallel to the target line. So the longer, I'll show it from this way, the further forward you go with the ball position, this would be our center. You can see I'm pretty straight forward, but, excuse me one second. So if we got our wedge, we're back here in the center, we're nice and square. The further forward you go up to the instep of the left foot, my spine is tilting slightly to the right. And what that's doing is helping me keep my shoulders nice and square to the target line. We don't want to go to the ball with our shoulders opening up to get to that point where we could actually strike the ball, but have a little bit of a swivel in your hips and shoulders so that you can keep your shoulders parallel. That'll look kind of like this from this view. I'll move this ball position out a little bit. Set up nice and parallel to the target line, and I'm going to have a little bit of a swivel to the right in order to keep my shoulders parallel to this shaft on the ground, which is representing a parallel to the target line alignment aid. So we don't want to go there by getting our shoulders this way, but make sure we've got a nice little tilt here to the right, the longer up the golf club goes. And what that'll help us do is get nice and loaded behind the golf ball. Ball position is crucial, obviously. So we want to make sure that you do that on a consistent basis. But we want to make sure we're also parallel to the target line. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we've got our grip in our fingers. We're going to set up with good posture, feet straight forward, nice and tall, forward from the hips until the arms hang, slight flex of the knees. Keep our shoulders, arms, feet, and hips all parallel to the target line, and we'll be in a nice consistent beginning position. So hope this helps you get a little bit more of an understanding of the chapter, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.